What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the To the Moon podcast. We're already here on episode 6. Did you think we'd make it this far?
Yeah.
Yeah. 7.
8.
I could see that.
9.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
11.
No. God, no. If you guys don't know the reference, that is Dwight from The Office talking to Jim. Right?
Yeah, or Jim was talking. Yeah, Jim talking to Dwight. Yeah.
And I forgot the context of what they're talking about.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ben showed me The Office back in 2019 going into 2020. It was at Horizon. And that was literally the first time I'd ever seen The Office. And it became like every single day we'd be done with class. It'd be like dinner time, and we'd usually like text each other like Reeve and then Office Ep or something like that.
Yeah, and I was telling you to watch it in high school, but you're like, I just don't think I'd like it. Like my mom watched it, and it's not really. I don't know. I'm like, you gotta get it, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was great that we waited until college and made it fun to have something to do. But we're back here on the To the Moon podcast, and to be honest with you guys, we don't have like a set topic today, but we thought that was okay. We thought we could just kind of dive into some things that we've learned over the years being independent musicians in the Midwest, which isn't a typical thing for a lot of people. And one thing I brought up to Ben this morning that I thought would be fun to talk about was our opinions on labels. To like flashback or backtrack to when we first started making music, that was definitely something that was like always the goal. It was never like, oh, we need to hit up as many labels as possible. We need to like send out emails. But it was like, we need to get calls from labels. We need to get emails saying, hey, we'd love to chat. We'd love to know more. Like that was always like a win for us. Mm-hmm. Not that it's not still, like it's still like flattering when they reach out, but we kind of quickly had a change of heart as to what labels were really after for us. Like maybe we can talk about some of the like instances and the calls we had with labels and like some of the term deals and stuff if we can get into it without being too like invasive or calling out names. Maybe like when we say a term deal, we don't have to say who it was from, but we could say like some of the ones that we got that were like, maybe like the one that was like what 50 years or something, 25 years or whatever it was. Like we don't have to name drop, but we can kind of go into that. I don't know if you have anything off the top.
Well, to start, like what Michael was saying with labels is when we started this in 2019, we thought like label, like let's sign to a label. That would be, we made it, you know? But the thing is when labels reach out, that's it, they're reaching out because you're doing well and they're trying to make a lot of money off of you. And the money that they're going to offer you or, you know, give you is in advance, and it's not free money. Like you're making that back plus way more than, you know, what it is. So, I mean, and the big conversation nowadays around labels is like, how much can they really do for you with social media and making music from your bedroom? So many people are doing it on their own.
Bro,
playlisting is less, you know, important nowadays. Like curated editorials on Spotify is not as big anymore. It's all personalized.
You could make an argument that like short form content, if you can crack the code and do it right, is its own label. Because like it used to be when we first started making music, it used to be like you needed to be on a label to get on New Music Friday or like the top like editorials. But now you see independent musicians getting on New Music Friday all the time, like Sammy Rash, John Michael Howell. Like you see those people getting on there. They're not on a label. They blow up from like a TikTok or a reel. And then Nick D, yeah, that's like the biggest one.
Connor Price.
They're all on New Music Friday, and it's not that they're like trying. That's like their goal. They talk about it all the time. That's not their goals, but it's like they end up getting on there because they used TikTok almost as like a label service.
Yeah, and it's really the editorials when we started in 2019 were much more relevant than they are today. Not that we don't want it. We've only gotten maybe a couple from Spotify and Apple Music. They haven't done a whole lot for us. And not that we don't want them. It's much appreciated when we do get them.
Yeah, because I'll add to that. I think like there is a lot of talk from independent musicians lately saying like how they don't like it's not going to change your life, or it's not going to be like the end all be all if you get on one. I will say though, when we were on editorials for like a couple of months, it started with Turn Out Fine when we got on New Pop Picks with Sammy, and then we got on Soda with like the holidays. And I think that was, I think when we met with one of the bigger labels, it was because they found us on an editorial. I think they said that. And again, they could have just been like bullshitting and made up a way that they found us. But if they were truthful, then I don't doubt that is a way that they do that. But also, it's ironic that a lot of labels now are searching for the next TikTok artist, and they're trying to grab the people that are blowing up on TikTok. And it's still, they do it still.
Which makes sense. You know, that's like the fastest way. You know, they're looking to make their money back as fast as they can. 0 to 100. If they can scoop up these viral moments, and they don't even really have to do much searching anymore. The numbers just show themselves.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people listening that probably know their stuff, and a lot of this might seem like fundamentals, but reiterating what Ben said before, just so we can make it so clear, because I know there's some people that probably don't know. Maybe you're just starting out in music. Maybe you're trying to figure out what your goals are and what they should be. The biggest thing from a label is a lot of people get a misconception where it's like they offer you a lump sum up front, but then they go and take maybe 80 to 90% of your music. That little bit of cash might be, a lot of cash might feel really amazing right up front, and it might be really enticing and really intriguing and stuff, but know that is just a loan. Like it's basically then the revenue you make off your money goes into paying for that back to them. So it's like, it's not.
And the big catch is, and obviously every deal is different. All the terms are always different.
Yeah.
But the cash that they give you have to make that back from your percentage. So if it's like an 80-20 deal and
80 label, 20
artists, and they give you $1 million, you have to make them $5 million to technically recoup your $1 million for the 20%.
Little math for you. But yeah, it's really interesting to look at. I don't know if you can go in depth about the deal that we had that was like a long-term deal. We won't say like names or anything, but can we
call it Funhouse Records.
Okay. All right.
So Funhouse Records hit us up.
And let's just preface that is not the name of the record, but we're just not name dropping for sake of just it's not important.
If there is a Funhouse Records out there, we're not talking about.
We're not talking shit about them or anything.
Yeah.
So
Funhouse Records hit us up, and we met with the guy. We actually really
nice guy. Yeah. Like he was like. It was like he lived in a rainforest, the type of vibe that he had. Like he was very just like mellow, calm, very family oriented. Like the one thing that was great about him was he wanted to make sure like that like we were all like a big family, and like we were all involved in being like well-being people. So
yeah, and something that was important at their record label is that, you know, artists maintains creative control. It was a licensing deal that they were proposing 50-50. So 50 us, 50 them. So, okay, maybe this is something we'll consider. Like, we've heard of this label before, and we think it's interesting. So we sit on it for a few days, and then our manager emails him, and then he sends over some of the terms. And it was, okay, yeah, we typically do 25-year deals. And we're like, what? 25 years?
We're going to be 50.
You're telling us this is a licensing deal? So like you're emphasizing it's not in perpetuity.
Basically.
But it's 25 years. That's basically perpetuity, you know?
Yeah, like I don't see us. I mean, who knows? We're doing a farewell tour when we turn 50, but like I don't see us continuing to be like what we do right now in 25 years.
I mean, who knows? But like 25 years, that is perpetuity, basically, you know? Like, and then we asked if they could bring that down at all, and the answer was no. So it was just, that was the end of the conversation with that one.
So it was a no to Funhouse Records. Although they were really nice people. Remember, though, we knew somebody that was with them, and so we reached out to them, and we basically just asked some questions. We were like, hey, are these people, like, have you, like, found yourself happy through them? Like, what's your experience through them? And the whole DM back was like a very much beat around the bush response of, I hate it, but I'm here. Like, he was trying not to be like, they weren't trying to be like a dick about it, I feel like, but they were also trying to tell us, like, probably not.
Yeah, it's like, I'm here now. Yeah. Kind of got the vibe he regretted it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But anyways, do you have another, were you about to talk about another experience? Or
yeah, we can talk about one of the other labels that reached out that we met with a couple times. This one was funny because...
Oh, is this $50,000? $10,000? The one from California? We were gonna fly out.
Oh,
or is that a different one?
Oh, I see. No,
I'm trying not to like.
No, that's a different one.
Okay,
no, that's a different one.
All right,
we can get into that one too.
All right.
But yeah, we're not talking shit about any labels. We're not trying to throw anyone under the bus.
But we're just trying to kind of do like a teaching lesson like on the thing, because like it's really easy to get caught behind the mask of what they're really trying to do, and like. And I'm not like all labels are out to get you. Like, that's not their intention. But we're just saying that there's other ways to do stuff now in 2024 that there wasn't when we first started making music. So
actually, before this next one, I'll go like 2 years back to one that was total shit.
Okay.
Total shit deal.
Is there a way that you can tell me the name of it without giving it away? No,
honestly,
that's fine.
I'm kind of fine with giving it away because it's so just garbage.
Let's just not.
I guess I won't. Yeah. But we'll call it Fun City Records. So
that's all the fun names.
Yeah.
All right.
So Fun City Records reached out to us like 2 years ago, and this is when we probably had less than 100,000 listeners. And I got on the phone with this old guy, and he's telling me, you know, loves the music, this, that, which is great. Thank you.
Oh, I do think I remember this.
And then he sends over the deal. I think this is the first. We didn't even give it any thought because it was so shitty. But he sends it over, and basically it was going to be a 50-50 deal, and all he provides is a $30,000 marketing budget to run ads, and that's it.
What even is that today? Like, what even like does that do today? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then he's emphasizing, or so right away we said like, no, that's not gonna work. And then you know, in the email back, I get a whole thing. It's like, oh, it's gonna be very tough for you guys to grow in today's age if you're not running ads and doing this and all that. And then a year later, we have over 500,000 listeners, and I mean, that was just a like laughable deal. So I feel bad for the artists that, you know, maybe get into music and then have something happen right away early on, and it's like, oh wow, this is exciting. You know,
I know. You
got to be careful.
You really do have to be careful, because the instant you start to get some traction on your music, no matter how big you are, you could have maybe, let's say you have like 25,000 monthly listeners. You've got a song that hit 100,000 streams or something like that, and that could be like a mile. I remember when we hit those numbers, and it was milestone moments. My cat just walking out. Usually we have the door closed. We can definitely push her off, but it like the biggest thing is you're going to get people that reach out, but when you're at that size, a lot of the times it's not for the right intentions. It's definitely to just like take advantage of you. So I'm gonna move her out. You can keep talking.
All right. Anyways, the next record deal that we can talk about.
Sorry.
A lot of hair.
That was my cat Mimosa. She's an orange tabby. She's 3, and she likes to be by people all the time, so we have to always close the door. So,
anyways, the next label deal that we'll talk about without throwing anyone under the bus, we'll call it Funtown Records.
Okay. See, I just don't know. I'm gonna have to wait until he starts explaining to understand what they are.
So, this is probably a year ago. Funtown Records reached out to us, and it was cool because the founder had some big major label ties. It was sounded like a big wig music industry, and we met with some director or something at the label.
Okay.
And it seemed to go well. We didn't get too much into details. They just kind of showed like what they're about, people they've signed, the charts that they've grown. I mean, they're not going to show us charts that we sign artists and they just tank.
Oh, are we talking about overseas?
Yeah.
That's right. I remember this.
So we met with Funtown Records probably 3 times total. The first time was just kind of an intro call. Second time was a little bit more details, a little bit more granular of like they're asking us like, what are you looking for? And we're telling them like, we are only interested possibly in licensing. We're not giving up our masters in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
So they're okay. Yep. That's great. We do licensing. So then in that second call, they're like to us, let us get back to you guys. This next call that we line up, we want to introduce you to the team and kind of get to know everyone over Zoom. We're like, oh, great. We're excited for it, So then we get on the third call, and it's it's like the same people and the same presentation again. They're like,
I remember that. And like, that one was tough because I liked those people as people. Like, they were really nice.
Everyone's nice as people, but
it was, I think though, they kind of, here's the thing with us too, is I think when labels had conversations with us, we would throw them questions in angles that they probably didn't get them from before. Like, they were like probably not expecting the responses we would give, the term deals we would want, the licensing questions we would ask. Like, we came prepared with knowledge that we were lucky to have because of the team we built ourselves. You know what I mean? So I think that was something that we brought to the table. But yeah, it would lead to like a conversation that would basically happen twice because we would know our shit and then like things wouldn't move in the right direction. And
I just remember they showed us a slide on one of their presentations, and it was like, in the year 2000, the average human attention span was 7 seconds.
Here's the thing.
In the year 2023, the average attention span is 5 seconds. A goldfish attention span is 6 seconds. It was something like that. I thought it was funny.
I love the goldfish reference because it reminds me of Ted Lasso. Like, think like a goldfish. It's a great thing to think about. It's like, then you don't dwell on things that don't matter. But you don't need to put it in your slideshow. and then on top of that, if you're trying to like get an artist to believe what you're saying, don't make a slideshow in the first place. Like, talk to them as a human and come prepared and be the most knowledgeable person up here. Like, I don't think you need to, it's not 2012 anymore where we're presenting slideshows to show that we have prepared our lesson for the group. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get that there's still like, that's still a big thing in businesses and in the workplace.
Well, it's a good way to show
it's visual, stuff. It's visuals. Yeah, which is fine. That's totally fine. But I, as a person, like, I'm going to respect, and I did respect it. I'm not saying I didn't, but like, I respect a person that just like has a up here way of showing you a visual and providing that, like, just, yeah. But anyways, yeah, that was I forgot about that one.
And then the other one that actually we were extremely excited about, this is, I'll just say where it was because it's literally the biggest city for music. The label was based in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not giving away anything. Anyways, we were really excited about this one when they reached out, because we look up to a lot of the artists that are on this label, and it was like, damn. So we met with the president over, I think it was Zoom or Google Meet or something.
Yeah, and I remember that they were just like walking on the street with their phone.
Yeah, it
like
wasn't
down,
like in an
down
office.
the street.
He's just on the move. He's just like, "What's up, guys? Love the music." And then he's like walking down the street, and then someone recognizes him. Oh, you know, like,
yeah.
So we talked to him for like 20 minutes, and basically it was just kind of a intro call. Love the music, this, that. Love the music, this, that. And then, you know, it ended with basically, what are your guys' plans in the next few months? We'd love to fly you out here and get you to meet the team. Like, hell yeah. Like, we would love to meet these people in person. This is the first label that is going out of their way to like have us meet the team in person and doing, sounds like they're pretty serious, you know? So that was promising. We were going back and forth with his assistant, and giving dates and times that worked. And then
they blow up.
And then his assistant blows up on TikTok, and I guarantee you, if you're on TikTok, you know who this person is. I'm not gonna say who it is. But
well, he's like best friends with Tate McRae. They work out together in all the videos on Instagram still, like to this day. Like, and I mean, Tate McRae is huge. So you go look up Tate McRae, and you see like her videos. He's in most of them. So
I don't go on TikTok enough, but yeah,
I just on Instagram, but.
Anyways, yeah. So he blows up, and then it's just radio silence, and that's the end of that. Ghosted.
I think we
dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I think we dodged a bullet, but I also think it was a wrong time. Like if we would have done it at a different time, I think it. But hey, everything happens for a reason. I think that we dodged that on purpose. Mm-hmm. And you know, it was funny because then a year later we were getting what 30,000 streams on Skywalking, and like all that stuff started to happen, and we weren't paying anyone else to do that. So that was really cool, and it's still cool to this day.
And then the last.
Oh, you have another one.
Oh yeah.
I guess we could go on for a long time.
Well, this is the one. This is like a warning one. So if you're listening and you're in music, this is one where I just want people to know.
100%. I think we need to get them out there.
Totally not right, in my opinion. So sometimes companies, and this has happened to me or us, you know, I hop on the call probably 3 times now, and it'll definitely keep happening. And maybe it is the right move for some people, but it makes no sense in my mind. Basically, what has happened multiple times is people will reach out to us and be like, "What's up? Love the music. I'm with X company, and I know X person at this company that loves your music and really wants to meet. Do you want to get a meeting lined up, or could we hop on a phone call and just chat?" So obviously we're down to always chat, get on the phone, talk with these people for like 20 minutes, and then, you know, they seem okay. And then like, yeah, we're not really looking to sign with a label, but we'll meet with whoever you're talking about. Sure. And then they pull out okay, well, that's awesome. Before we do that, we're just going to have you sign a brokerage agreement just saying we brokered the deal. And then we can move forward. And then I'm like,
what?
I'm like, so they're like, how does that sound? I'm like, no. They're like, what? Why? I'm like, you reached out to us saying you have this guy that wants to meet with us. We're not even looking for a label. Why would we give up 10% of our deal to a middleman that we're not looking for?
Right.
You know? So there's going to be people out there in the music industry that really just know people, and they're going to try to make you sign a deal with them so they can connect you with the right person. And then the guy was saying, he's like, oh, well, this is only if you're happy with the deal and you guys actually sign the deal. Then I would only get my commission. I'm like, if he's so excited about us, he can hit us up directly. We're not going to do a middleman. It makes no sense.
Right.
And then it got silence on the phone, and I could tell he's really frustrated. And he's like, so I lost you with the brokerage fee. I'm like, that's correct. He's like, okay, well, it was great talking to you, and I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you guys anyway. I'm like, all right, great. And he never introduced us. I figured that'd happen.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like that stuff's just going to happen. And there's a great, you know, if you guys have listened to the independent podcast, Nick D, he goes through this all the time where he gets people reaching out to him. And the biggest thing he says is he's like, if someone's reaching out to you, like you didn't send that first message, so someone sent you a message and you're responding, don't let them ask you what you want. It's like, I don't want nothing. You reached out to me.
Yeah, that's exactly like, what Nick D said. Yeah,
he just as a quote, like, but that's so true. It's like, don't be like a dick about it. Be like curious, be humble, but like also like don't let them take advantage of you if they instantly start asking what you want, and then they bring out like, okay, well then here's our 20% for this. It's like, huh? What?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, literally, like from now on, honestly, like when people reach out and then we get on these meetings and they say, so what are you guys looking for? What would interest you?
Nothing.
It's like, if you're reaching out, why don't you just hit us with a deal?
Nothing. I'm not looking for anything.
It seems like you have the idea, you know?
Nothing.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want? What did you eat for breakfast today?
And we're not saying never sign to a label.
Right.
We're not necessarily anti labels.
Does kind of sound like we are, but we're not.
It sounds like it. We're not. The door is always open for us if it makes sense. Yeah. You know, if we trust the team and if it makes sense. But so far, there have been no deals that made sense for us, and which is fine because we're still able to make it work.
It's true. And I think, you know, it's like we could go on all day about this topic, but I think it's really good to have like an outlet for people to learn, especially like, you know, high school kids that like DM us saying like, hey, like I'm thinking about, like I've started making music, or like not even high school kids, just like any age. People say that they're starting to make music. Like, what's your best advice? I say, you know, we both say the same stuff. It's like, well, if you're a singer and you want more people, go find people that know how to produce. If you're a producer, go find a singer. Don't try to put all your eggs in one basket because you're wasting time. I didn't know how to produce at all when he asked me to be in the Astronomers. And what did I do? I learned over the years. And now almost every song is like started by me on production. Mm-hmm. And then you go in and you make it sound good. And like, I had my like, none of my production classes, like I loved them and they were wonderful teachers, but that's not where I gained my knowledge of production. I gained it from just watching you produce. So it's like, you're going to learn the skills if you don't know how to produce, or you're going to learn how to songwrite just from watching the other person write and sing. And so it's like, don't think that you need to know how to do everything right away. Surround yourself with the people who do, and you're going to learn from them. It's just, or look up YouTube videos too.
YouTube videos are the best.
Yeah.
Don't take them as like, don't take anything in the music creative production world as a fact though. Take it as like, this is a new way of doing something, and this is like a new technique, but it's not the right way or the wrong way to do it. It's just a way to do it.
Which is great to try to do right off the bat, because once you get into it,
I struggle with that right
away. And that's
away.
just because I think the reason for us that sometimes it's hard to like switch up our way of working is because when we first started, I remember we said, let's stick to a sound. Let's stick to a groove, a rhythm, start up a Logic. You know what I mean? That was kind of our motive, was like when we got in the studio, we're like, okay, let's get this loop down. We need the sound to be like this. We need it to have la-di-das. There needs to be trumpets. Like it was like, remember when we made Overthinking, that was...
Well, I still think that's kind of fine for making a cohesive project. But I'm saying subscribing to the idea of, oh, I have to I made this song, and now what I learned in class is you send it off to a mixing engineer, and then after that you get that back, and then you go send it and pay more money and get it mastered professionally.
Skip the mastering part.
You don't have to do that.
I do understand that there are people that, like, if you know a guy who you can send it off to, like, we know a lot of people who like make their music and then they send it off to like somebody in Nashville that they know or something to get it like mixed. The concept of mixed is kind of foreign to us because it's like you and I both, you do that as we go.
Mix as you go until it sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I never really understood. Well, I understand it, but we don't do it that way, I guess. That's kind of how I work, I think. I think I don't think about mixing. I just get down the whole structure. But I need to do that so I can keep writing.
You can just go fast. Yeah, whenever I go in after you start your idea, like all the little faders, things. All the faders are at 0, so I have to like go in and balance everything.
But that's like, again, like that's like the best way. You know, that's like the best way for me to like get my writing done as fast as I can. Is I need to structure out a song and then go in.
Last thing to add to this combo is publishing. Just want to talk a little bit about publishing with knowing the value of your publishing and what perpetuity means. Mm-hmm. And again, this is not directed toward any company or conversation. I'm just saying this in general.
From our experiences.
Yeah, but as you get bigger, well, first of all, when you first start out, publishing is kind of foreign to you, where you hear about it, but you don't really see any money come in. It's or if you do, it's very, very small amount, and you just kind of like, oh, publishing, yeah, but where is it? I don't see it. As you get bigger, your publishing is going to get bigger, and those checks will start to get bigger. And for us, it's still not like a significant amount, like in the grand scheme. But we own all of the rights to the publishing, and we're not working with a company. So there's these things called publishing deals where publishers will scoop up your publishing catalog and, license it to commercials and movies, TV and stuff. And that's what we want that. We haven't gotten any of that yet, and that pays well. But sometimes in the terms, they're gonna, be like, especially for smaller artists, they'll offer you a decent chunk of money, like a lot of money, but it's
like upfront.
But then they own it forever, 50% of it forever, or whatever percentage it is. And luckily, we've had some really great people that we know in LA that have been at it for 20 years and know this world way better than we do. So I was able to text one of our really great friends out there and ask just what his thoughts were on something that we were going through. And right away he said, perpetuity, anything in perpetuity is a no. Like, don't give up your art. Don't sell it this early on. Maybe toward the end of your career, or if you're packing up shop and you're like, okay, I'm sitting on this, and for some reason I'm done with music, or whatever. But really be careful with anything in perpetuity, masters, publishing, any of that. Really be careful with it, because you don't want to do this, super early on and basically lose everything you've worked on for 5 years, 10 years, however long. So,
well, I think moral of the story to end it off is just be careful when you start to get deals rolling in. Just be careful. Even if your dad knows somebody at work who's like a lawyer or an attorney or someone who's good with looking over contracts, like, that's okay. Just find people that can help you in those situations, because you don't want to get yourself into a situation where you get screwed over or you don't realize what you're signing away to. So but yeah, I know this was a little bit more of like a little techie kind of like in-depth Let's Talk Labels podcast, but I think that was good to have that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Thank you guys for watching the To the Moon podcast. We appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, I love the guy who just screamed at the end. But we appreciate you guys so much. Episode 6. I think the goal is to do 3 more for season 1, 4 more, and then we will put everything on Spotify to live there on a To the Moon page. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.